Well, we've got the photographer here, so we can start. Thank you very much for this morning, all our speakers and moderators, and hope you had a lovely lunch. I most certainly did. And we're going to be starting our afternoon session now. And the moderator, Mr. Moderator, is there. And moderator for this session right now is Anurag Agarwal. Anurag, come on down. So please, a big hand for Anurag. I've known Anurag for a good few years. He's definitely so well known across the world of telecoms. We at MEF are member-led and we are neutral. Remember, I explained that this morning. We have 12 board members of MEF. One of them is whoever the CEO is. Another one is a lawyer who's been associated with MEF practically since the beginning. The other 10 members are elected by, guess who? The other members. And I'm pleased to say Anurag is one of our board members. So you could say he's one of my bosses, ultimately, at the end of the day. And Anurag, his, let's say, popularity in the telecoms domain goes well beyond that. Some of you will have heard of the Rocco 100, so the roaming consultant.
This was not part of the script.
It isn't part of the script, but I'm doing it for you.
Heavy disclaimer.
He didn't pay me at all either. And really prestigious. I remember it was a couple of years ago, I came like number 10 on the list, something like that in the world. This guy is number 1. So he's an absolute rockstar. Come on. Number 1 on the Rocco 100, a MEF board member, working with GTS, who have kindly put this event together. So you're absolutely in safe hands. So what have we got coming up, Anurag?
Well, yet another boring panel session, or maybe not so boring.
Topic is?
Conversational commerce. So thank you, James.
I'll
take over. Thank you so much for those overly kind words I didn't expect. Thank you so much. I'm Anurag Agarwal, Chief Growth Officer here at Globe Teleservices, and we have a very exciting panel discussion coming up, and I'll explain why it's exciting. Maybe the members of the panel itself will show why it's so. We'll be talking about conversational commerce. These are very, if I may say, very sexy words within our industry, but there's a lot that goes below, under the hood. And what we're hoping is that through this panel discussion, we are able to unravel some of the mysteries from various members of the ecosystem which have very kindly consented to come on stage. So let me start from the start. Firstly, special mention to John Shirley from the partnership development team, who could not attend this event. Sadly, he's just come down with COVID, so I think he'll be coming to the country next week. But in his place, firstly, I'd like to welcome on stage Abhinav Jha, part of the partnership development and business communications team from Google. Abhinav, please. That would be my seat. Thank you. Any is fine. Next, we have with us Sri Krishnamurthy, Senior Vice President, Acquisitions of Kotak 811. Sri Krishna, thank you so much for joining in. We have Avnish Chaudhary, the CEO of GTS Tech Labs, the technology arm of the GTS group. We have Dwarkanath Gopinath. Dwarka, I can't see you anywhere. I hope Dwarka is here. Okay, can somebody cut short Dwarka's lunch and request him to join in? We'll move on to the next one. We have Nipun Popley, the head of operator partnerships at Infobip. Thank you so much, Nipun. This is Nipun's second stint as a panelist at MEF Connects India. Next, we have Surinder Anand, CTO and VP Product Management at .go, a part of the Gupshup Group. And lastly, I'll be moderating the session. So yeah, Dwarka, I hope you had time for dessert. If not, we'll make sure we'll keep some ready for you after the event. So we have Dwarka here, Dwarkanath Gopinath, VP Messaging and VAS at Vodafone Idea Limited. All right, so what makes this session unique, ladies and gentlemen, is that we've managed to capture all the various elements within the conversational commerce ecosystem under one panel. So we've got the RCS evangelist, that's Google out there. We've got an enterprise, who's actually where the entire story starts. So we've got Kotak 811 here. We've got the platform enabler, which is .go, which is there. Another technology major in this space, that's GTS Tech Labs. We can't do without the operator, of course, and for that, we've got Dwarka. And finally, an important member of the ecosystem who stitches it all together, which is the CPaaS player, which is Infobip. So thank you, Nipun. So with that, we'll start the session. I think I'll take my seat as well. So starting with the first and foremost bit about conversational commerce, so we'll actually we'll drive it through the value chain. So I'll start on the enterprise front. So Krishna, you've been looking at Kotak 811. As I understand, Kotak 811 is a zero balance offering which you've come out, and that's guys, I think the mic's not working, if you can just check.
No.
So Kotak 811 is sort of one of the strongest digital arms of Kotak, if I can say so. How has the journey been for you in engaging with customers? What are the various conversational commerce platforms that you're using? How are you mixing up the entire play? What do you see in this space?
811 is a zero balance account and it's completely digital. So this product is almost 5-6 years old. Currently, we have millions of consumers. We have to engage these consumers. So we know for sure these consumers are what type of channels they use. They engage. So we know that for sure email. There are consumers who are engaged in SMS, WhatsApp. So we make sure that this loyalty to the consumer, the way in which they are using WhatsApp and engagement stuff, which we see through that, if we know that this consumer engages at 4 o'clock in the early morning, we send a mail out at early morning so that's the first mailbox. So everywhere the engagement and triggers have been set so that we can engage this consumer better. And is it a cross-sell? Is it an adoption? We want to make sure that the engagement, the interface has been taken care very well.
And from a channel mix play, what do you see as the trends coming up? I mean, at one time they say that this entire commerce was driven by websites. Then came the era of apps. And today we are in an era of conversation. So how has that journey been for you? I think your brand has come about relatively more recently. So I think you've been quite ahead of that learning curve already. But what has that meant for you?
So consumers are everywhere. So the comfortness of the consumer, right? So if he is comfortable in SMS, he is comfortable in SMS. But broadly, we have seen the consumer use app more. They want to engage more. And what are the, how to make the app better engagement? That we also know that consumer wants, one click bill pay,
Right.
one click. So that's what the consumer wants also, right? We engage the consumer through different CPaaS channels to make sure that this consumer is engaged well. Stickiness is there with us because, every bank is doing the same bit, but we try to make sure that the stickiness has been built more.
Right. And I'll shoot to you, Nipun, because you are also within this play looking into multi-channel approach, as they call it, an omni-channel approach. So from a telemarketing perspective or as a CPaaS provider perspective, how do you see this mix? We'll give due credit that Google is also here, so you can focus maybe starting with RCS. So we're going to ask that how has the RCS journey been for Infobip? And over and above that, if I look at into India, the general accepted practice is that WhatsApp is a major channel of choice already, because I guess it's been in the play much earlier. So how do you see these various channels talking to each other?
So as Krishna mentioned it, I think he started off with the right point is it's the consumer's choice. It's how the consumer behavior has changed over the years. Today the consumer has their preference of channel. They have their preference of time on what time, what channel they would like to receive their communication from their brand. Be it a bank, be it any retail company, be it anyone who's trying to engage with the customer. So engagement is the key word here. RBM, as RCS, as you mentioned, has been quite a channel that we used extensively last year. A lot of brands engaged with RCS because the consumers were engaging with those RCS messages. It's a rich form of communication. It's still like SMS. So it's through the SMS channel on the SMS inbox that the consumer is receiving the message, but with the richness of a OTT sort of a platform, right? So you can get images and videos and, streaming and, links that can be clicked within the app itself without leaving the app. So that I feel was the success of, RCS that drove it so well. And, thanks to Vodafone and .go and now Google also relaunching this year, we have our hopes set on RCS being a big channel for, for our brands and for our customers. As the panel is talking about conversational commerce. Now, what is conversational commerce is exactly that. It's about, marketing, engagement, re-engagement, and then even, maybe support over the channel of choice again. So we see these channels as, the medium, again, as you correctly use the word, omni-channel. So Infobip, is an omni-channel player. A lot of us here in the industry do provide omni-channel platforms where, brands can engage with their consumers on those platforms depending, as Krishna covered it very correctly, exactly at the time they want to, on the channel they want to. And today's day, the consumer is they want a personalized communication.
Right.
So you want to receive a message, related to your behavior as a consumer, as a customer. So, what kind of searches you were doing earlier, or how you, let's say, sent a request to the brand asking for some information, or to the bank, let's say, asking for some financial product.
Right.
So you need to then engage with them more in a personalized manner through those
channel of choice, which is there, and I think, in fact, if we interlace this with some of the other sessions, we spoke about consent and preferences earlier as well. And I think India especially is making a lot of efforts to not only focus on consent, but also preferences, which will help a consumer get communication on their channel of choice. But zeroing on to Abhinav, guys, it's very difficult to get Google on a panel. So, Abhinav, I'm going to make the most of this opportunity. So